Once again, it's another rich person making me ask, why?
That's it. That's my intro.
Hi, I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about the Las Vegas Loop from Elon Musk's The Boring Company. I recently got back from Las Vegas where I attended CES and AVN, but CES is the important part today. I was staying at Resorts World, which is across the street from the Las Vegas Convention Center, and I was told that Resorts World would not be part of the shuttle system for CES. However, we would be getting a free pass to use the Las Vegas Loop if we would like to. Now, I know what you're thinking, Amanda. Why are you talking about the Loop? Well, originally I was going to make a review of the Loop in short form. I was like, okay, well, I'm probably going to be taking this a couple of times, at least once or twice. So I might as well film in portrait mode so that I have the footage for a short form review and then I can, maximize the amount of content I'm making for the event. And I'm going to be honest, the first time I wrote it, I was like, this is kind of convenient. But then I thought about it for a little longer. Who wins from the Las Vegas Loop? Like, who really benefits from it? Is it the people of Las Vegas? Is it the passengers, the ones who buy the $450 pass to go on a limited closed circuit? Is it the drivers who have to spend a good chunk of their day underground in tunnels going one way or another way? Or is it the billionaire who didn't actually put any of his own money forward to build his tunnel system? Let's take a guess. Who paid for the Las Vegas Loop? That was my first question. I found out from constructiondive.com. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority footed the roughly $52 million bill for that tunnel. Since its completion, the company has pitched not only its expansion, but new tunnels in cities like Miami. Now, when you look up the Loop, you get brought to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority website. And so it shows destination marketing, signature events, transportation development, advocacy, research, press, and publicity, who we are. For the Loop system right now, there's about 5 stations and they are all connected. However, for CES, the connection between the Riviera station and the West station, I was routinely told they were not allowed to bring us from one station to the next on that part because of CES, which I don't get what the point of that was, considering it just led to more walking. As of right now, there is a station at Resorts World, the LVCC Riviera station, the LVCC West station in front of West Hall, the LVCC Central station in front of Central Hall, which is also right next to the North Hall, and then one on the South Hall South station. These tunnels go exactly as you think, underground, and then you go through the tunnel, there's lights, it's a whole thing. So I first took the Loop the second media day because it was the presentation for Sony was going to be at the Las Vegas Convention Center. I had already been taking lifts all over the place all day, and though it was a walk, not that long of a walk to the Las Vegas Convention Center, I had already been walking all day. I had just come from AVN and it was cold. It was like 40 degrees cold. I was chilly. I was like, okay, well, I'm already at Resorts World. I'm already here. It tells me it's going to take me to the convention center. So let me just try that. It's for free, all this stuff, but I also found out that it was $450 for a day pass. So I go down into the station, just kind of wait. They scan my ticket. I'm able to walk through. The guy says, hey, go stand at like slot 1 or something. At the Resorts World, I think there's 3 spots for you to go stand at, if even that. I think it's just like kind of a rolling door. I don't even think they had like numbers on that one. And then Tesla pulls up. Some people get out. And me and 2 other dudes get it. We all know we're all going to the same spot. It was one other media person, someone who was actually working at the Sony booth, so he definitely had to get there. We all knew that we had to get to the North Hall, which is where the Sony presentation was. So when we got to the Riviera station, we were like, oh, okay, how do we get to the Central station? Because that's the one that's connected to the North Hall. And they said, well, because of CES, we actually can't take you to the next station or to the Central station because I believe the Resorts World station, there should be at least 2 stops. It's supposed to be the Riviera station or the West station, but they all go on the same loop basically. And they said because of CES, we actually cannot take you to the next station. So you're going to have to walk from here all the way over there to go to the next station. Me and these 2 dudes walked. We just trekked. We found it ourselves, which was nice. It was all blocked off. We walked past all the shuttles. And then we got to the West station. Now, the West station, that did bring us right up to the Central station. It's the one that you see a lot of photos of. It's got the Las Vegas sign. There's like 2 rows. One takes you to the West station, one takes you to the South station. Take the escalator up and you're there. Okay, I don't think I ever actually went to the South station because I never had the need to go to the South station. I took the Loop a couple of times the rest of the day. The following day as well was at the Las Vegas Convention Center for me, so I took the Loop that day as well. A few other times where I had to go to a couple of different sides of the convention center and I would just kind of take the Loop back and forth. And I did save a few minutes here and there in walking. And when you're walking a convention center all the time, where you can save time in walking, I can understand why this would be seen as a positive for a lot of people. And on instances it was nice to just be able to sit in the car and not have to do anything for 5 minutes. And at this time, unless you're there for an event, I can't see the value of the loop in the stations that they are. Because CES, it was included in my ticket. I don't know if it was because I was media and that's why it was free. I don't know if everyone else had to pay $4.50, but media, we were given the free pass. But if events do keep doing like discounted ticket rates or whatever, then where is the money going? So the Riviera station, I think that's what this one is, because the Riviera station, the Riviera tunnel is, I believe, the newest and also the shortest at this point in time. So there's actually no lights through it. They have lights, but they're not like color changing lights. It does not look like a 14-year-old gamer's bedroom. They've got like yellow and pink, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and they just don't change. So it's mostly the white tunnel. And the tunnel does look like that with like kind of patchwork pieces of cement blocks all around it. And I said, if something goes wrong or if one of the cars breaks down or stalls, do you guys need to walk the entire length of the tunnel to get in? And he said, no. And I said, oh, so there's like emergency access points throughout the tunnel. No. So then how do you get to the, okay. Anyways, when I was driving through, I'm looking back at my footage and I don't see any emergency access hatches. The Teslas in particular obviously only have about 4 seats in them. A couple of them do have the ability to pull the seat forward so you can sit someone in the back seat, but that sounds dangerous. All of the Teslas were operated by drivers. They were not on auto driving. Even though they were fully in control, as far as I could tell, no one had autopilot on. So they were fully operating the entire time. There was one instance in particular where the screen completely froze on the driver when one of the drivers tried to open up the trunk for someone to put their bags in. And it didn't work, and they had to use the side. There's a side button or something that also opened the trunk, but their screen completely froze, and I was like, are we good? A lot of the times in these cars, just by the nature of the event itself, I was the only girl in a lot of these cars, so the people that were directing us just kept being like, and the lady goes in shotgun. Fine, I don't mind, and I got to talk to the drivers more often and got more insight, so that's good. I was told on one of the first drives that I did that they actually are not supposed to have the stop signs. They had stoplights going in and out. I think for the Riviera, I think it's mainly just one tunnel both ways. And so it's like, that's why they have the stop sign, is to kind of slow people down so that they're not rear-ending into people. Because at the very least, it's one entrance point for the most part, in and out. Sometimes I think the tunnels merge either way. So sometimes there were 2 tunnels. I think the west station to the central station to the south station and all of that, looking at the map, I think it's 2 stations, but I think west to Riviera and Riviera to Resorts World, I think those are both one tunnel that just have the one access point. I think. I can't be certain. They literally had like traffic lights, like red means stop, green means go for the cars. And I said, are you guys doing that because you were crashing into each other? The entire time I was there, though, I could not go from Riviera to West Station and all this stuff, West Station to Riviera, all of that. It was kind of like a get out, have fun type of thing. As far as the wait times go, obviously when there's less people there for media days, the wait times are non-existent. On days when it's busier, wait times are crazy. So they still weren't that long. It was probably no more, no less than what I would wait for lifts when there was a ton of lifts in the area. I waited till it was getting darker one day, and it was also raining, so that was not pleasant on that day as well. I don't want to make it seem like the wait time was a lot, because it really wasn't. There was still a wait time on occasion. And I was told, because I asked, how many cars do you guys have operating at any time? The driver said, oh, well, there's 100 cars in the fleet. And so there's probably 50 of them at any given time. And then they're just, charging the rest of the time, so they can just keep rotating them as much as you want. So again, the cars, they're Elon Musk's cars, his company, his plans for the track, and then he doesn't have to pay for them. I don't want to complain about the drivers in any capacity, because they were great. At one point on one of my rides back, one of them pointed at the big drill that was outside of the Riviera station. I thought it was just a hunk of space junk, honestly. I did not think it was the thing. I thought it was like, oh, this must be for CES. Nope, it was part of the Boring Company's drill for drilling the tunnels. And they said, oh yeah, this is going to be drilling all of this. We have all these tunnels planned, all this stuff. The next tunnel system is going to be to downtown, like one station dropping off directly on Fremont Street. And then they also have one for the airport. But it sounds like the airport is like the last bit of what they're doing. I was like, oh, is that your priority, is the airport? Oh, that's kind of like the cherry on top, is exactly what he said to me. And I was like, oh, but then he said it's going to bring you 100 miles per hour or something. And so a guy in the back seat said, is it going to be the same width of tunnel as this? Because obviously if you're going 100 miles per hour in a tunnel underground, I don't know if it's because I was feeling nosy. I don't care if I was doing research and that's when my brain was like, you're not overwhelmed right now being underground in this tight tunnel in a car that you know can crash at any moment. I don't know why I wasn't freaking out. But like looking at this image, this stresses me out. At a certain point, it was raining, and I was like, God, do I want to be in one of these tunnels when it's raining in case something goes collapsing? Apparently, the tunnel that's going to be designed for the 100 miles per hour Tesla zooming or whatever is going to be slightly wider, depending, but I do think he may have just said that on the spot to appease the tech guy in the back seat. So, you know, it's definitely something interesting to think about. Again, you're kind of like, it's like Uber Pool, but worse. That's really what it is. You're just with strangers in a car, 4 at a time, on a closed loop. These are not cars that are taken off of the road. These are just more cars added to a new tunnel system under the road. This is not replacing cars on the road. This is not replacing traffic on the road. This is, you know, like, when you start thinking about things, you're like, why does this exist? When there's subways, why not just make a subway station underground? Why have Teslas? Whether they're automated or inautomated, like they have human drivers. It's stupid. It's just stupid. So yeah, as of June 2022 is when Construction Dive posted that Las Vegas approves Boring Company loop under downtown. Both tunneling and bureaucracy can be a slow, arduous grind. Last week, the Boring Company inched past another milestone when the Las Vegas Council unanimously approved an agreement with Elon Musk-owned company. The deal permits Boring to build, own, and operate. So again, they own it. So they're the ones profiting from it. I'm just getting mad. The more I think about it, the more I'm getting mad. So this portion says that this new tunnel system for downtown and all of that will be funded entirely by the Boring Company with its own money, though private stakeholders such as hotels will pay for the stops for their property. The loop project secured approval from Clark County in October. The project will stretch more than 34 miles with at least 55 stops. It's just the subway. It's just a subway system. Boring will retunneled a smaller loop, slightly longer than a mile beneath the Las Vegas Convention Center as a proof of concept and the company's first commercial project. Tesla Model X and Y vehicles fill those tunnels, as they will be the entire loop project when finished, whisking passengers across the convention center from below. Boring designed the tunnels to greatly trim the 25-minute walk to a matter of moments. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority footed the roughly $52 million bill for that tunnel. Since its completion, the company has pitched not only its expansion, but new tunnels in cities like Miami. In March, San Antonio's Alamo Regional Mobility Authority voted to select Musk's firm for a potential San Antonio International Airport to downtown loop at a cost of $247 million to $289 million. Nevertheless, its efforts in the greater Las Vegas area continue to be the Boring Company's marquee. And then also, you know, people in California, let's talk about that. Did Musk propose Hyperloop to stop California high-speed rail? Or was it just another instance of Elon blurting out a half-formed idea? Yes, to both questions. You see, the thing that drives me crazy about Elon Musk is, as far as business goes, I don't think you should tell everyone every thought that comes into your head when it comes to business, especially when it comes to business decisions for your company. What he's doing with Twitter right now is stupid. Elon Musk's Hyperloop has gone about as well as most of the Tesla and SpaceX CEOs' more ambitious ideas. It's way behind schedule, and so far we've seen an unconvincing prototypes. A recent Times article by Paris Marx contends that when it comes to Hyperloop, this is by design, alleging that Musk proposed Hyperloop as a way to distract California lawmakers from a long-discussed high-speed rail project. The implication here that Musk wanted to squash a public transit proposal in hopes of selling more cars cars is familiar to anyone who knows American automotive history. Marx is the author of Road to Nowhere: What Silicon Valley Gets Wrong About the Future of Transportation. In the His Time article, he backs up his assertion with a passage from the biography Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and The Quest for a Fantastic Future by Ashley Vance. While writing this biography, first published in 2017, Vance arranged monthly dinner interviews with Musk and visited Tesla and SpaceX headquarters numerous times. So I called Vance to try to understand what's behind Hyperloop. Is it an elaborate effort to undermine high-speed rail? Is it yet another half-baked proposal sprouted by a guy famous by half-baked ideas? Could it be both? In the Time article published online August 8th, Marx lays out well-justified skeptics' view of Musk's achievements and motives. The whole article is worth the read, but this is a segment that caught my eye. Elon Musk has wielded a virtual monopoly on how we think about the future. But will his visions really deliver better lives for most people in our society? For all the tech industry's talk of disruption, keeping us all trapped in cars for decades into the future by equipping them with the batteries or upgraded computers doesn't feel like much of a revolution. A much more sustainable alternative to mass ownership of electric vehicles is to get people out of cars altogether. That entails making serious investments to create more reliable public transit networks, building and cycling infrastructure so people can safely ride a bike, and revitalizing the rail network after decades of underinvestment. But Musk has continuously tried to stand in the way of such alternatives. He has a history of floating false solutions to the drawbacks of our over-reliance on cars that stifle efforts to give people other options. The Boring Company was supposed to solve traffic, not be the Las Vegas amusement ride it is now, which it is. Because I can't drive my car through the loop. I can't. But this new car does not take my car off the road. Does that make sense? Because you've just built a space that my car can't go, that I can't ride for free. But it's still a car in a different road. As I've written in my book, Musk admitted to his biographer Ashley Vance that Hyperloop was all about trying to get legislators to cancel plans for high-speed rail in California, even though he had no plans to build it. Several years ago, Musk said that public transport was a pain in the ass, where you were surrounded by strangers, including possible serial killers, to justify his opposition. But the futures sold to us by Musk and many others in Silicon Valley didn't just suit their personal preferences. They were designed to meet business needs and were the cause of just as many problems as they claimed to solve, if not more. Have you met a tech bro? The potential of me being in a Tesla in this tunnel with a serial killer was like not zero. You're still in a car with strangers. Like, what are you talking about? Serial killers? What? This is a very good article and I will have it linked down below. All in all, I'm going to end this video here. Do I think that Elon Musk hates public transport? Yes. Do I think his overall goal is to sell more cars? Yes. Do I think it's to make more money for himself? Yes. These are all things that I believe as an individual. What is true is up to interpretation or what ends up happening. At this point in time, the loop is, like this article says, an amusement park ride. It's not an actual alternative to car transportation, and it does nothing to quell the traffic on the strip. It doesn't do anything for that. I don't know what's going to happen with the downtown plans for the Hyperloop, but I mean, I'm not optimistic. We'll have to see how it plays out when it does play out. But overall, that's going to be it. Have you ever ridden the loop? What do you think of the loop? Are you mad that he allegedly killed the high-speed rail? I am. Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I have a podcast, the Swell Podcast. Reminder, I have merch like this mug and new designs that'll be out for this video. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd also like to support me on Patreon, let me down below. Like my new social media. That'll be all up here. And that's going to be it. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. Can't you just go and make another flamethrower or something? Why do you have to keep messing with public transit?
Thank you, Alan, Cameron, Christopher, Chris, P, Crash PC, China, Dirty One, Don, Donnie, Elliot, Evan, Eric, Eol, Hopeless Incognito, Isaiah, Jacare, James, Joe, John M, Jordan, Joseph, Cami, Kim, Kristen, Lamb, Lexis, Luis, Matt O, Matthew, Meme Lord, Michael J, Micah, Nathan, Nathaniel, Pat, Penn, Richard, Rob, Rudd, Robert Ross, Ryan, Sam, Serena, Sierra, Skylar, Simon, Tasha, Timothy, Tom, Heavenly, Plastic, Tom, QWERTY, Randy, Winter, Wendy, Williams, and Week.